Hi, welcome back. Let us try to understand project and development life cycles. Again, the discussions are based on PMBOK version 6. A project life cycle is a series of phases. A project passes through from start to finish. So maybe in the beginning, okay, we have this feasibility studies, then we get into the technical evaluation and the commercial evaluation, then detailed requirements collection, and then high level design, low level design, development, testing, and release. So all these are, if they may happen sequentially or sometimes they happen parallelly as well. So collectively we call it as project life cycle. It's a series of phases a project passes through from start to finish. And within that project life cycle, there can be a series of a subset of the phases may be directly linked to the development work of the project. Example again, requirements collection, low level design, high level design, development, testing. And these are hardcore engineering stuff. So these things comes under development life cycle. So development life cycle becomes a subset of the project life cycle. Development life cycle can be treated as a subset of the product life cycle. Then again, we have the development life cycle can be further categorized into predictive styles. It is also known as waterfall, where things happen sequentially. Requirements collection happens, then a sign off. After that, we get into design, again sign off, then development based on the design, then a sign off, then parallel run and handover. So this is a predictive style. It's also known as waterfall. Budgets, timeline, everything is decided up front, and the project planning also happens in detail from start point of the project till the end, and then we try to do things. That is a typical waterfall model, or it is also known as predictive styles. Then we have iterative styles and incremental styles. Both these styles, things happen across iterations. So we do a detailed plan for one iteration that completes. Then we get into second iteration planning, third iteration planning. First, we start with an overall plan for the project. It talks about how many iterations and stuff like that. And just before getting into an iteration, we do the detailed plan for that particular iteration. So through these iterations, the product gets incremented feature by feature. And we have these adaptive styles. Again, it is based on the sprint or iteration. It is also known as the agile methods. And sometimes we follow hybrid methods, like till we have absolute clarity on the requirements and the technology, we may go agile or adaptive mode. And once we have absolute clarity on the requirements and the technology, the rest of the project we may go with predictive styles. So a combination of these styles are possible, and that we call as hybrid. This is again the pictorial representation from start to finish. If you see, that is the project life cycle. So we start with the concept. As an example, okay, we start with the concept. We start with the feasibility, then the requirements, then the design, the build, the test, transition, and commissioning. The entire set we call as the project life cycle. Within the project life cycle itself, if you see this part alone, these are all hardcore engineering stuff. Uh, this this can be treated as a this subset is known as the development life cycle. So the development life cycle is a subset of the project life cycle. Development life cycle is directly linked to the hardcore engineering part. Uh, we already discussed about these predictive styles, and this is again a pictorial representation of the predictive styles or the waterfall. So we have this requirement collection phase. Once that is done, we get into the design phase. Once that is done, then we get into development, and then we get into testing. So this is the predictive styles where time, cost, and scope, they are decided upfront, and end to end the project plan is done, and then we start executing the project. This is good for projects where requirements are very clear and the technology is also very well known to the team. In those things, okay, this works well. Then here we have adaptive styles, and that is adaptive styles or agile. See, the fundamental theme of this adaptive or the agile stuff is it revolves around this iteration. So here if you see iteration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So at the end of every iteration, we start with a roadmap like this. We should know how many iterations and what are things we are going to do in those iterations. And before getting into the iteration, we do a detailed planning and we get into the iteration. And at the end of the iteration, we verify to see whether the iteration objectives are met or not. And then we get into the next iteration. So during these iterations, this product gets incremented. The features of the product gets incremented. Sometimes, sometimes within an iteration we complete a set of features, or the features gets incremented across iterations as well. This adaptive life cycle is also known as agile, and under that umbrella agile we have several models like extreme programming, Scrum, test-driven development, RUP, DevOps. So all those things comes under agile, and the common thread or the similarity between these frameworks are the iterations. Iteration becomes the central theme for all these models. The phase gates or stage gates or kill points. See, these are the terminologies used for the same thing. Phase gates or stage gates or kill points. All these things it's all same. That means at the end of a phase, we do a detailed senior management review happens to see whether the project can proceed into the subsequent phase. So these are actually senior management reviews. It happens at the end of every major phase, and it happens at the end of the project as well. Actuals are verified against the plans. Decision to continue into the next phase or not, these decisions are taken. So that's why it is also known as kill points, because sometimes at the end of the stage gate, the project gets killed. Repetition of the current phase with or without modifications. possible. Extension of the current phase. So if something is lacking, we may extend the current phase a little bit to compensate for that. And the project closure time also, we do this phase gates. And if you see projects, the funding of the project doesn't happen, the entire funding doesn't happen in one go. First we fund for phase one, and at the end of it, after the phase gate or a stage gate or a kill point meeting, then we fund the subsequent phase. So whether to fund, a go no go decisions happens during this phase gates or stage gates or kill points. To summarize, we discussed what is the project. We discussed about what is the project life cycle. It is the master set of phases which may have engineering phases as well as non-engineering phases. The development life cycle is a subset of the project life cycle, and the development life cycle are all technical stuff, it is which are connected to developing the product of the project. Then we have this predictive lifestyles, also known as waterfall model, where the entire project is planned upfront, and cost is fixed, the scope is also fixed, timeline is also fixed, and we try to do that is the predictive lifestyle. Then comes the adaptive lifestyles, which are also known as the agile methods, where the central theme is the iteration. And hybrid life cycle is possible, as I discussed earlier, till we get a handle on the technology and the requirements of the project. We may go with the adaptive styles, and once the technology and the scope gets familiar to the team, the rest of the projects we may go with predictive styles. So that means, predictive and adaptive styles can coexist within the same project, and we call that as hybrid life cycle. And the last one we discussed was phase gate reviews or stage gate reviews or kill points. It is done by the senior management. We used to call it as a go no go meeting as well. So at the end of this meeting, we decide whether the current phase should be extended, or can the project move to the next phase? Should we cancel the project, or can we fund the subsequent phases? All these things are decided at the end of the phase gate or during the phase gate reviews, generally done by the senior management. So thank you very much. So by this time you should know what is adaptive styles, what is predictive styles, what is project life cycle, and what is product life cycle, and stage gate reviews, phase gate reviews, and kill points. If you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe so that you get the updates regularly without missing them. Thank you.